So some of you have been asking, how do we record lash videos? Because you might also want to start doing lash tutorials, or you need to submit it for your online classes. So let's jump right in. So you're only going to need a few things. So let me show you. All we're going to need is our phone to record. We don't need to get all fancy and have a fancy camera to start off with. Actually, until today, I pretty much record with just my phone when I do all the tutorials. And then we're going to need a little overhead tripod. So this is a nice one to start off with. Very affordable. I think it's between $25 to $35. And we'll link all that below. And a light, okay? So a light helps a lot too, because unless you're in a super lit room, your details on your lash video is not going to come out. So get a ring light, any light that you can, to point down at your model or your mannequin head, depending who you're recording on. So look at the difference. So if we look at her face like this, the video is literally coming out okay. When the lights really on, we can really see and how it's going to highlight the eyelashes when we're going to work with them. All right, so what we're going to do with our overhead mount is we're actually going to mount it on our table. And the way we're going to do that is literally when it comes, you just put the two pieces together. You're just going to put this part inside the clamp and you're going to screw it in. You want to screw it in pretty tight, but it's okay for it to turn a little bit, okay? And also for your phone holder, you can screw it in two ways. So you can either screw it in with this one that's going to look vertical, or in the back one that's going to look horizontal. So for YouTube, you want to use the back one so it's going to be horizontal, because the positioning of your phone is going to help you a lot. Because also one of the biggest challenges is when you're doing lashes and you want to record is that equipment could really get in your way, and it's really hard to see what you're doing and do a great job lashing while there's cameras or lights or stuff in your way. So you want to use something like this to make sure it doesn't get in your way. And all we're going to do is, again, rotate this to clamp it onto our table. You want to make sure the part of the table you're clamping on, it's going to get full support, okay? So it doesn't fall. Because sometimes tables have like hinges or wood pieces underneath. And this table, as I'm using, is just a plastic openable table, and we put a cover on it. It's easy to fold and put away when I don't need it. And it's affordable. Okay, so now you want to make sure that's nice and steady, because last thing you want is for it to fall on your model or your client, right? And then you can adjust the arm up and down. So what you want to do is also turn it this way for it to come and be pointed right where your model is going to be. Now at this point, we would want to make sure we turn on our light, because we're going to test to see how it's going to look on our phone, right? So I always put my phone on do not disturb so I don't get calls or texts throughout the recording process. It's very distracting. I'm going to open my camera. I'm going to go on video, and the newer phones, it just is auto set to 4K. I'm going to change that to HD actually, because 4K is too big of a file and it's harder to work with. So I'm going to change it to HD, and when I place it, I want to make sure my camera is on the outside of it, like closer to the face and not this way. Because like this, that means I'm going to have to get my phone even more in my face and her face for it to record. So if I put it this way, it'll be less in my way. And of course, make sure you go right under the button, so you're not going to keep the volume button, so you're not going to keep turning off your phone or taking screenshots. Now, once it's there, I start recording with 1x zoom and not 2x, because when it's at 2x, it's harder to zoom out while it's recording. But if you're at 1x, you can always click the 2 and get more zoomed in to the eyes, okay? And you see I can adjust the table, I can adjust the arm a little bit up and down to see that. But the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna sit And I'm gonna look and make sure that it's recording what I want it to record. And make sure it is horizontal this way, not vertical if it's for YouTube, right? And I wanna make sure I could see the eyes clearly. I don't have to see the full face. If throughout my recording process I need to see the full face, I would just click the 1 and it would zoom out and show the full face, right? So you can choose how you want to record that, but this is the setup so it's not in my way. And just to also not have too much extra items in my face, like another magnifying lamp, I use the glasses to give myself magnification to see better versus like using the Mac glasses or the magnifying lamp, because I want to make sure I'm comfortable when I'm going to be lashing as I'm recording. So now I'm going to stop because I'm done with that part, right? Then you can do your setup, do whatever you want to show on her. You can record in clips. I don't recommend recording the whole 2-3 hour process. So you can record like 5 minutes and you can skip recording for another 10 minutes and record another 5 minutes. So that makes it a lot easier for you to edit later. So get the content you want, yeah, and not just everything. But to start off with, you can also just get everything and then you'll spend more time editing. And if you don't feel comfortable talking while you're recording, I know a lot of people also just record the whole thing. They don't talk at all. They just do what they need to do. And then afterwards, they'll go and they'll record the voice over it. You also want to make sure you have everything set up that you're going to need when you're going to be lashing before you start recording. So if you're going to consult with your client, you can also consult with them while they're laying down and record that process, and then go get everything you're going to need before you start your tutorial. Because the last thing you want is getting interrupted, going back and forth and having to grab things, okay? It's just more unprofessional for your client, and also for yourself, it's going to be a lot more time consuming. So I always make sure I'm going to at least have the basics in there already set up before my client comes, like the lash wash, the tweezers I use, my hydrometer to make sure my room temperature is going to be good and humidity is going to be good, my fan, sanitizer, tapes, my practice lashes if I'm going to be doing it on a dolly, and then the lashes, that's the last thing I would grab based on what I'm going to do on the client.